Forex technical experts.
And expect your mentors here. Also, we'll be doing market analysis of two pairs, EURAUD and EURAUD. I'm going to start with EURAUD right now. We're starting from the daily time frame because that's where we have most of our details at. Remember, the first thing we do, identify our major support and our major resistance. In this case, this is our major resistance here. Catering for most touches is always, as you know, most touches. Then this is our major support, and we're gonna also check our sub-support and sub-resistance. In this case, we have our sub-support, which is at this zone, catering for most touches as always. Okay, so we've identified our major support and our major resistance. It's time to dive into the 4-hour time frame to look at our market structure. Let's try to dive into the 4-hour time frame and see what's been happening. So on the 4-hour time frame, we've been having the market ranging along these three prices. So the market was ranging from this price, it went broke. Now it's ranging along this price of 1.69820 and 1.66907. So right now we're going to look at the current market price. As you can see, it's been failing to break above or below this channel. So we're going to monitor the next stop of it. So we think it's going to come to this price of 1.66907 because this is our nearest support. So it can possibly come to this point of support, then break it, move to the nearest support again, which is 1.63244. So let's dive into the 1-hour time frame in order for us to draw our trend lines because we have more details there. Diving into the 1-hour time frame, looking at EURAUD, I can see this pair has been moving nicely to the upside, respecting this trend line. Along this trend line, we've seen that it's been respecting, but at this point right here, it did what? It broke it to the downside. So let me cater for this. This is my breakout zone, and on the upper side of things, it's been respecting this trend line, going up to the upper side like this, catering for most touches. This is our third touch, 1, 2, 3. Remember, we always cater for most touches. Okay, we have our nice price channeled up. It was going to the top side nicely, so respecting this price until it eventually broke it at this point. So right now we have it broken in this side, looking forward for it to move to this side. So how can we expect to enter this trade? Have to look for an entry. So looking at entry, we're gonna identify our sub resistance. In this case, we have our sub resistance along these points. That's where the price has been rejecting while trying to go to the upside. Also remember, we have a breakout and retest entry, so we can also focus on we can also focus on this trend line being broken out and being retested along this point, then selling further to the downside. So also looking at that point, we also have this resistances which we can cater for using this. We can probably expect this pair to move back to the upper side of things, reach this resistance, then start to give us rejection candlesticks, then push back to the downside of things. So we're having this option of it coming to this side, making a head and shoulder formation, and also it retesting this trend line, pushing back to the downside of things. Remember, this was our third touch on this trend line, pushing it to the downside impulsively. Now we expect a retest here, then we can further push to the downside more. And our channel was broken, meaning our uptrend was broken at this level, meaning that now it's chance for sellers. We're going to give sellers a chance, so we're going to enter our sell opportunities at this price, 1.68982. So the short option would be like this. We're going to enter our selling opportunities here. Remember, when it gets to this point, we're going to be looking for what? For candle rejections and other confirmations like momentum and stuff. So at around this point, we're going to be taking a trade with this target. So we're going to be risking like 291 points in order for us to gain 1,900 points, which is a good risk reward ratio, 6.56. So this is our trade, EURAUD. Going to be looking for selling opportunities. This is a beautiful setup to the downside of things, with our stop loss being like 291 points, which means that if our pair goes up and breaks this confirmation and tries to go even more further to the upside, we're not going to entertain entering this trade unless the price comes back and start going to the downside of things from this point with some rejections telling us that we are ready for selling opportunities. We're going to push it to the downside of things. Okay, now we're done with EURAUD. Let's move into our next pair, which is EURAUD. You know, as always, we start from the daily time frame. From the daily time frame, we do what? Identify our major support and our major resistance. In this case, we have our major support being here, and we have our major resistance being here. As you can see, with the rejection on the top side of things has been failing to go to the top side. Then our sub support is also right here. So let's dive into the 4 hour time frame to have more data to see how we can identify our trend. So what's been happening is the market has been trending to the upside of things. As you can see, it moved from this price up to that price, but how has it been moving? So I've identified this channel that has been moving in this channel manner. 1, 2, then our possible third touch point will be the current one, which we're expecting it to set to the downside, which will be the third touch here, because as you can see, it's been dropping to the downside respecting this trend line. So, and on the upper side of things, catering for most touches has been respecting this trend line here. As you can see, it has rejected many times along this trend line, meaning that this is a stronger trend line on the upper side of things, meaning that we can expect it from here to go to this other side of the trend line, because it's been channeling within this trend line, going sideways with this channel, going sideways up and down. So right now we're going to be looking for selling opportunities to the downside up until this opportunity here on this trend line. So this is our first target. Let me dive into the 1 hour time frame so that we can see how we're going to enter this trade. So how are you going to enter this trade? As you can see, we've been having like a rising wedge at this point here, a rising wedge which was broken down beautiful right here. So this was a rising wedge on the top side of things. As you can see, catering for most targets, it was a rising wedge. The market was showing rejection of the buyers. While it was rejecting the buyers, it shows that the sellers eventually caught up with the buyers, and now the sellers became in control, pushed the price to the downside with high momentum. Then right now we're expecting a little bit of retest up until this price here, where the trend line got broken. We expect it to retest this price, then we can push furthermore to the downside of things. So right now expecting a retest alongside this wedge retest, then pushing it to the downside to our trend. You remember we anticipated that the trend has to make a third touch here, so we're going to push it to the downside after our wedge retest at that price. So we're having selling opportunities too on Euro and Euro AUD from that point of 1.57490. We're going to be taking selling opportunities with confirmations of candle rejection. As always, you know, we wait for candle rejection, momentum rejection, then we start to enter our trade as candles go to the downside. Let me show you. We're going to take our trade from this point of retest. Then our target is right here, 2,300 points with a stop loss of 300 points. Our stop loss will be 300 points. Anything upside, we're not taking this trade. We're going to take this trade when it starts to reject along this level and starts to show us selling confirmations, then we take it to the downside of things. That's our trade for Euro AUD. We have Euro AUD selling opportunities and we have Euro NZD selling opportunities. We're done, ladies and gentlemen. That's our market analysis, market breakdown. Before we end this analysis, I need to show you something important. You see here, this was our third touch on the trend. Second touch. This is our second touch, and this is our third touch. That's why this is our target. So we're expecting it to come reach this point because it's been trending going up, respecting this, respecting this. So right now we expect it to push to the downside to come pay respect to this trend line here. So ladies and gentlemen, that's our analysis for this week. We expect to really kill the markets, and we wish everyone good luck with the trading journey, and we hope that you take time and listen to this recording, understand what we taught, and kill the markets, ladies and gentlemen. From me to you, the expert, your mentor, signing out.